Hello, I'm Jessica Jewell, a sophomore here at East Carolina University, and I want you to join me as we continue our walking tour of the historic center of the ECU campus. Behind me is the Flanagan Classroom Building. This is where many East Carolina students take science and geography classes.
This was the first new building on campus in nearly 20 years when it opened in 1941. Everyone was so excited about it that homecoming festivities were postponed from fall until winter so that more people could attend the grand opening.
As we learned in the last video, the East Carolina student body and the size of the campus had about doubled in the 1920s with the addition of 10 new buildings.
But then the Depression hit and campus growth halted throughout the 1930s. No new buildings went up on campus during those years, but the student body continued growing at a fast clip, so the school badly needed more classroom space. At 3 stories and more than 100,000 square feet, Flanagan became the biggest building on campus. It was named for Edward Flanagan, a Greenville business leader who was an early chairman of the school's board of trustees.
The ECU campus had slow but steady growth during the 1940s and 50s. It was during this era that the campus expanded to 10th Street when the first sports facilities opened.
The years after World War II was a time of rapid academic growth when the school began offering much more than just teaching degrees. This is when the school dropped teachers from its name and became East Carolina College. The next few buildings on our tour are a response to that rapid growth in the post-war years.
This is Slay Residence Hall, which opened in 1949. It was the first new dorm on campus in over 20 years. With the school's enrollment now over 1,000 students, every one of its 216 beds was needed.
It was named for Ronald J. Slay, a longtime faculty member who was East Carolina's first academic dean.
Just a few steps up 10th Street from Slay is Umstead Residence Hall.
Umstead was named for North Carolina Governor William B. Umstead.
Behind me is Christenberry Memorial Gymnasium, which is just down 10th Street from Slay and Umstead. This was considered a major athletics facility when it opened in 1952.
Christenberry was built on what was once the school's vegetable garden. There was strict food rationing during World War I, and students grew vegetables here to keep everyone fed. Many people also don't know that there is an Olympic-sized swimming pool in the basement. The building was originally named Memorial Gymnasium and honored those from East Carolina that had served and died in World War II. The name was later revised to also honor John Christenberry, a beloved East Carolina coach. He only coached here for 3 years before leaving to fight in World War II. He died during the war in an explosion in 1944. His 1941 football team is the only Pirate football team to go undefeated.
I'm back on Central Campus just west of the mall, and behind me is the Irwin Building. Today it is used mainly for faculty offices, but it was a faculty apartment building when it opened in 1952. Back then, faculty members liked living on campus because the rent was cheap and the location was just steps away from the classrooms. Just steps across the mall from Irwin is the original part of Joyner Library. This building opened in 1954 and offered much more space for about 250,000 books, a huge collection compared to the school's first library in the Witchard Building.
Joyner Library has been greatly expanded over the years. During the most recent expansion in the 1990s, the columns that guarded the original entrance were saved and moved to create what is called Sonic Plaza. Students passing through the columns set off chimes that add a musical lift to the school day.
Now let's walk back towards the western end of the mall and visit a building which opened during East Carolina's 50th anniversary celebration.
Celebrating 50 years was a big deal for the campus, and the whole community pitched in to make it a memorable event. Several events were held to mark the occasion, including pageants and other special events.
One of the biggest celebrations during the 50th anniversary was the opening of this building, Garrett Residence Hall. It opened on Founders Day, March 8, 1957.
The 3-story brick building faces 5th Street and was named for Radford Garrett, a Greenville banker and business leader who served on the Board of Trustees for several years.
Garrett was designed as a women's dorm, but an interesting fact is that it became the first co-ed dorm on campus in 1974.
But as it turned out, there wasn't an overwhelming number of students who wanted to live in the dorm, and the school's first experiment in co-ed dorms almost was abandoned.
We're now just east of the mall, and behind me is the Rawl Building.
Rawle was named for Edward Rawle. He was a Greenville business leader who served on the Board of Trustees. He was also a leader of the civic community and is remembered as the founder of the Pirate Club.
That wraps up our tour of campus buildings that arose during the 1940s and 1950s. In films we will post here later, we will take you on a tour to show you how East Carolina changed during the 1960s and early 70s. This was a time of tremendous change when East Carolina College became East Carolina University. I'm Jessica Jewell. Thanks for watching.